Hey, let's talk about Nightreign. I have a lot of weird feelings on Nightreign. I think it's very fun, but I also don't really ball with it. So let's talk about it. And first, some background on me. So I streamed all of my time with Nightreign. I have 100 hours in the game. I've done every achievement. So all remembrances. I've tried everything. I have not finished every Everdark fight because I don't really touch it that much. I kind of quit playing it by the time Everdarks were released. But I've done every mainline fight. I messed around with some of the difficulty modes. I'm very mixed on the game, which feels weird because I'm like a FromSoft guy, right? So I played Dark Souls 1 through 3, I played Bloodborne, I played Sekiro, I played Elden Ring. So I was left really confused with Nightreign. So to start, let me talk about what I like. I like how all the Nightfarers play. I like the general rhythm. You drop, you get loot, you fight, rinse and repeat. That's all perfectly fine. I think that has all been executed really well, but there's one problem that Nightreign has that really just doesn't work well with me. And one of those things is repetition. I think every fight in Nightreign really suffers from it. Specifically in the overworld. I'm not talking about the Night Lords. It's just, if you run the Night Lords over and over, there's only a set pool of dudes that spawn, unless they've changed this in a recent update by the time you watch this, but there's a very strong lack of variety when just playing the base modes, and even with the Everdarks, to my knowledge. It just all feels so repetitive, and that really bums me out. I kind of thought everything would just be random encounters from anything in the game, but it just doesn't feel that random. And I understand the reasoning for this is solely because they want you to learn these guys' boss patterns so you can do better, so you can get better at reaching the main boss, and I think that's fine. I see why they did it, but I don't really think that's very fun. Second of all, I don't really like most of the Night Lords. I like the Bug, I like the final one, and I like the Equilibrious Beast. I think those are really fun, creative fights, and that's kind of the extent of my fun factor with the boss fights. Performance with the game is also kind of a complaint, but realistically, you're gonna be fine. I don't know. Performance has gotten a lot better since launch, but I still have like some problems. Gaping Jaw or Gaping Maw, I can never actually remember that boss's name. He frequently crashes my PC whenever I run him, but even standard. And with Everdark, there's no shot. There's no shot my computer survives till the end of the fight. He's really not cool for my computer, which sucks, but that's okay. And other than that, that's kind of it. So it's weird. I did everything solo, but I didn't have any friends, you know? And when I say solo, I just mean I queued and matched with 2 strangers online. I did a few solo runs to try to get a feel for it, but a lot of those fights don't feel super fun on your own solo, in my opinion. I think the only one I did like solo, like repeatedly, was I think Dark Drift Knight and Tricephalos, the 3-dog one. Those were like the only 2 Night Lords I really did solo on my own off stream. And I just really feel like the game is missing something. I've been reading Steam discussions since the game came out, and people are saying, we need more content. This isn't enough. I put hundreds of hours into it. I put like 200 hours and now I got nothing to do. And I don't want to say content is the problem, because I consider it I got my money's worth, right? I threw 100 hours into a game, and yeah, I feel pretty content with my time. I had fun with it, but my major complaint with Nightreign is that it's really forgettable. So like with Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, there's a lot of staples I remember. A lot of fights, a lot of set pieces that really worked with me and that I remember in the level design especially. And with Nightreign, I don't really remember much at all. Like, I could tell you the Night Lords, I could tell you the abilities of the Nightfarers, I could tell you like the memes or whatever, but that's kind of the extent of my experience. I just remember very, and I mean very brief highlights. And I feel like runs in general are just kind of forgettable. I couldn't tell you the difference between like 90% of runs I've done, other than, you know, the really bad ones were just, it was over. And the really good ones, it was super easy, you know? So, I don't know. I feel really weird about Nightreign. I get, if I recall correctly, Nightreign was made to train like rookie devs in a stress-free environment, I think. And if that's the case, that's totally cool. I don't think that's a bad thing by any means, but it just doesn't feel like a very good experience coming back to it or reflecting on it. I don't want to say I have remorse, because I enjoyed the time I put in it. I can still have fun with the game, but it feels like there just wasn't really enough game for me, which is very weird to say, because I put so much time into it. I had a really good time with it, but at the end of the day, it felt like I just dopamine rushed for a while, and then I was like, okay, that's it, I'm done. And that was the extent of my like entire playthrough, which doesn't feel great. And even the lore implications make zero sense to me. I don't know. I like the idea of From taking a direct approach with the remembrance journals. Most of them don't make sense to me, and if we're gonna get into the lore, I feel like a lot of the Nightfarers just don't have anything to do with the actual Night Lords, in my opinion. Like, don't get me wrong, there's people who very clearly do, like Iron Eye and Wilder and Recluse, for example. They all have like very, very close connections to the Night Lord. But there's other characters where I'm like, I don't really see the relation. I don't really care a ton. So I don't know. It's definitely fine. I think if you're looking for a game for fun with friends, I think you'll have a good time. It's not a bad game. I put a ton of time into it. But it's not really a memorable one. It really feels like you're just killing time. And that is probably my least favorite thing about the game, is it felt like I just killed time to get all those achievements. And now I'm sort of left feeling weirdly hollow about the whole experience. And now God, I almost never play it anymore. And when the Everdark fights came out and I tried them, I was like, oh, this is neat. And then, like, you know, then I was like, okay, well, it's whatever. I don't really care, you know? So I don't know. The build crafting is cool, but I feel like there's just not that many options. And I mean, the weapons alone being random every drop wall makes sense. And I like that it encourages me to use other things. I feel like maybe there's just not enough weapons. There's not enough enemy randomness. There's just not enough randomness to the game in general. I mean, I just wish there was something more to Nightreign to really give it some deep complexity and some depth that would make me care about it and consider it like an actual like entry into like the Souls-like games. Because if I had to pick between playing this and like, you know, any other Souls-like, I'd probably just play like Nioh 2 again instead of just go back to Nightreign, you know? I'd rather just boot up something I know I like, as opposed to go back and just kind of, you know, I can either run it solo, which is like not nearly as fun with people, but I can do it, or I can do it with two strangers and hit or miss if like two of them are clowning and I can't carry hard enough, or I'm clowning and they gotta carry me. There's just a little too many factors to it. But it's not a bad game. It's not a bad game by any means. A lot of people say From Software sold out with making it. I actually don't know. I'm the wrong person to ask about that. I'm not informed on what they've been doing. But I don't really like the game that much anymore. But I still think it's a lot of fun. It's just sort of a little too repetitive with very... I don't know. It feels great the first, like, 2-3 Night Lords, but even in like my initial start of my playtime, by the time I was finishing the game and fighting Heal's store for the first time, I was just kind of burnt out, which is not a great feeling. I still got every achievement because I was like, well, crud, I want to see everything this game has to offer, dude. This is like the Elden Ring Fortnite I always thought would be cool. And even after all that, and actually after seeing everything, I'm just sort of left with, yeah, I mean, that is a game I bought and played. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. I had fun with it. And that's kind of it, which sucks, because it's not a bad game. I clearly got my money's worth, you know? It provided value for what I bought. There's nothing, like, inherently predatory or bad about the game. It just feels like it's missing something. Something there that makes me want to throw time into it, like, forever, dude. Like, I have 1,000 hours in Dota 2, and granted, that game sucks. Do not play it. I do not play Dota 2 anymore, you know? But the nice thing about that, though, is it had enough for me to feel like I kept coming back, even though it's very forgettable. You know, I mean, I couldn't tell you a thing about any MOBA match I've played, like, ever, probably, you know? But with Nightreign, I was really hoping to have those moments of remembering, oh my god, dude, that first moment when I blank, or, you know, it just doesn't feel like it has that. And yeah, there's plenty of, like, online co-op games that don't have it, like Dark Tide, you know, or at least I didn't have any with Dark Tide. That was just the first thing that came to my head. But it just feels really weird that Elden Ring Nightreign doesn't, when there's so many moments in 1, 2, 3, Bloodborne has a bunch for me, and Sekiro, you know, they all have moments that are just, like, live rent-free in my head of, like, first reveals and gameplay and, like, my favorite fights and how everything plays out. And Elden Ring Nightreign, I could just tell you, yeah, I remember, like, most of the abilities of the cast, and I think I remember, like, one cutscene from Revenant's Remembrance, and that's kind of it. So, I don't know. It's weird, because I feel, like, a lot more disappointed now going back to the game than I did upon, like, actually getting all the achievements and finishing it. So, you know, it's not a bad game, but I also don't really think it's that good either. It feels really just kind of there, and that's not a bad thing. I think we need games that are kind of there, but I don't know. I've played a lot of games this year, and I've kind of realized that I really prefer to spend my time and money and just on stuff that's really going to be fantastic and memorable to me. Like Expedition 33. I played that earlier this year. That's got to be, like, one of my favorite games I've ever played, just ever. And if it's not going to give me that, give me something that's, like, silly or ridiculous, where I just see, like, the craziest stuff just from other people. Valorant's a good example. If you want to see insane people, hop into Swift Play, dude, and turn on voice chat. You're in for a treat. But Nightreign isn't a bad game, but I also hesitate to call it, like, something great or, like, memorable either, just because there's such a lack of variety in between runs. I think only a few of the Night Lords are even fun to fight. I don't really like most of the bosses they ported over from Elden Ring. I'm pretty cool with most of their picks, like the ones they ported from other games, like 3 and 2. I remember Gaping Dragon coming back from Dark Souls 1, and maybe Centipede Demon came from that too. I hate their picks for 1, but maybe Centipede Demon was from Dark Souls 2. No, I think that was Smelter Demon and Duke's Deer Freya, which are fine. I don't know. I mean, it would have been nice to get a Night Lord that was, like, a crazy boss from another game. You know, like, how about Fume Knight? You know, he would have been cool. He's my favorite boss from Dark Souls 2, but it's okay, can't win them all. But Nightreign isn't really a bad game, but rating is kind of difficult now because I feel like it just was kind of there. And it was like, it's enough, you know? It's like, it's a Souls game I can play and boot up, and it's easy and accessible, but that weird, like, scope and, like, high fantasy adventures was gone the entire time, which is fine if it made up for it in gameplay, but I don't really think the Everdark fights do that. I don't think the hard mode does that. I just don't think either are particularly interesting because we're just on the same map forever. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think if you think I'm wrong. I just think Nightreign is just kind of there, and that's not a bad thing. You know, there's no problem with Nightreign just being kind of there, but it kind of bums me out because I really wish it was, like, as special as, like, everybody thought it would be that first time they saw the Nameless King reveal in the trailer. I thought the whole game would be moments like that, but it's not. But they brought back Dancer, so that's something. But yeah, that's really it. So Nightreign is definitely a game you can buy, and it's not bad, but you're just kind of killing time, and I don't really like having that feeling whenever I boot up a game. I don't really regret my time with it, but by the same point, I wish it stuck with me more other than a game that I can look at and be like, yeah, I got all the achievements. So, yeah. I hope you enjoy Nightreign. If you do, let me know why in the comments below. If you hate Nightreign, let me know in the comments below too. Yeah, yeah.